Welcome to the channel. My name is Drew and I'm just so pumped that you're watching this video. I love reading books, and with 2025 being around the corner, with every new year comes new goals. And I'm sure for many of you, especially since you clicked on this video, your goal is to read more in 2025. And I'm here to help you with that goal and give you some advice on how to start well, be consistent, and be motivated as you go. So how do we start well? Well, like I said, I love to read books, but I wasn't a reader growing up. Although I do remember in elementary school when we would read as a class, and we would do like popcorn, and whoever was reading aloud in like whatever the paragraph was, I remember I would always try to read faster and clearer than them in my head as it continued on, so that way when they popcorned to me, I could read clearly and loudly and smoothly, so that way I wouldn't fumble a sentence in the class. And now that I think about it, that's probably because of Billy Madison.
Today, Junior?
But nonetheless, I became a reader. But again, this didn't happen just overnight. Well, I actually wanted to start reading when I decided to go into Bible college because I wanted to become a pastor, which is my current position now. And I wanted to read all these theology books, and the problem is that I bit way more than I could chew. I would buy books like this one, and as you can see, it's a thick boy. And the problem is that I would begin to read it, but then because it's a long book, it took me forever to finish, but then I would often just end up not reading it because it just was a colossal of a hill to read. But then I realized that the best way to finish books and start books is to start reading smaller books. And this is how you start well in 2025 when you want to become a reader. And why is that? Is because you can read a small book like this one in the matter of a day, probably in the matter of an hour. And when you begin to do that, you begin to continually read more and more, because you can finish a book in a day. So then you'll want to start a newer book, a smaller book. And as you continue to do so, well, you become consistent in your reading, because before you know it, you've read all of these shorter books, which, I mean, as you can see, it's pretty close to being as thick as this guy. So as you gradually, consistently read more smaller books, you begin to read more, you begin to develop your habit, and because of that is how you stay motivated in reading more. Why? Because when you finish a book from start to finish, you feel good, like you feel accomplished, because you've read a whole entire book on a topic that you enjoy or a topic that you want to know more of, and you feel like you've gained some knowledge and you gain confidence. And this is how you stay motivated, because eventually, as you continue to read more smaller books, you'll be challenged to read longer books and bigger books, and before you know it, you can actually tackle these type of books, the thick boys that you've been wanting to conquer. And yeah, maybe this will not be the first one you start, but when you start with these, you'll end up with these ones. And that's how I became a reader, and I want to encourage you and challenge you to do the same, especially if you want to read more in 2025. Get smaller books, read them often, and you begin to enjoy them, and from there you can actually tackle on the bigger books. I may make a video on what books to read, what smaller books to read, and maybe my favorite books. I don't know, we'll see. But I want to encourage you for 2025, if your goal is to read more, start with smaller books. And if you enjoyed this video, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, as I'll have way more book recommendations on how to read well, and a lot on Christianity, theology, philosophy, all of those things. So I hope you like this video, subscribe to it, so that way you can see more videos like this one.